Hey there, and welcome to this episode of the show where we are talking all about the obsession with clean eating and how that can sometimes, in some extreme cases, lead to something called orthorexia, which is the obsession with foods that are classified as being healthy. Now, it's a complex subject, is kind of where we should start with this whole different thing, because eating a highly nutritious diet rich in foods that again give you an abundance of vitamins, minerals, macronutrients, healthy fats, all of these sorts of things that are going to really help you live a very healthy lifestyle is not such a bad thing. But then there's a line. There's a line where potentially having an over obsession with having every morsel of food that ever passes your lips to be in that category, if that's becoming an obsession and impacting your quality of life, then there's the line that you've kind of crossed and you need to try and come back from if that's where you're at right now. Now, I'm no expert in this whole different sort of area. I'm not an expert here to tell you whether you have got a certain condition versus another. That's not my job. But I am going to give you my opinion because, hey, this is a world where we live in freedom of speech and I can give you my fucking opinion. And maybe, just fucking maybe, there are some people out there that actually want my opinion. And therefore, I'm going to give it to you in the best possible way. So like I said before, for me, an obsession with anything, an obsession with like fucking an OCD type obsession, whether it's to do with food, whatever it may be, that becomes an obsession for me when it impacts your quality of life. Like I said before, in this scenario where we're talking about clean eating, where we're talking about clean foods, is where you then start to have a fear of food. You start to avoid social situations because you can't control whether that food is quote unquote healthy, and it leaves you depressed. Your mood starts to come down, your anxieties go up, and again, it's starting to impact your quality of life. For me, if you've got to that situation, then you've taken your obsession with eating clean foods, whatever the fuck that means, to a degree where it's just too much. I'm not saying that if you want to eat highly nutritious foods all of the time and that makes you happy, that you shouldn't do that. Absolutely not saying that one iota. If you are a completely happy individual with the foods that you eat and those foods are highly nutritious, then have at it. Go for it. Be awesome. Eat those foods. Enjoy your life. But if you have this obsession where all of these foods are healthy, all of these foods are bad, they're unhealthy, they are the devil incarnate in calorie form, and eating any one of them in any sort of quantity is making you feel anxious, nervous, depressed, and you can't fucking just go out and enjoy life, that's the type of person that I'm talking to right now. So, eating clean, like I said, is not bad if you can make it work. If you've got a high protein diet that's high in fiber and you've got lots of nutritious foods, you've got different varieties of fruits and vegetables to get your vitamins and minerals in, then that's great. But you can get these situations where you are trying to eat clean and you're trying to eat healthy, but that can sometimes lead to deficiencies. So for example, if you are eating these clean foods, but you're not eating a wide variety of them. Maybe you're very restrictive, you're very a fussy eater, and you're down to these kind of just like, I don't know, let's take an extreme example, 4 or 5 different fucking foods that you eat all the fucking time and don't give you the breadth of vitamins, the breadth of minerals, the breadth of nutrients that you need in order to be living a healthy life. Well, actually, your obsession with being clean is actually working against you because you're not having enough variety. So think about those situations. If you are eating, you want to eat this really, really super healthy diet, make sure it is super healthy. Make sure it is giving you the nutrients. Make sure it is giving you what you think it is. Then you've got this kind of dirty and bad food relationship. Now, like, are foods actually clean? You know, you're not sitting there fucking scrubbing a tomato with fairy liquid before you put it in your fucking gob, are you? there is this whole also subjective thing about what is a good food and what is a bad food. Talk to one person who does clean eating and it'll be completely different to what the next person says. Really, it comes back to calories, because you can still overeat calories eating healthy food, quote unquote. You can still do that. So calories still matter. Yes, obviously you want to be highly nutritious with your food choices, but understand that things come back to calories, and you shouldn't therefore fear having different food types if you are controlling your overall diet. Now, if you have this bad relationship with food where you have a clean eating obsession, then you are not really going to be able to live in the real fucking world. Let's get that out in the open. A lot of scenarios are out of your control. You know, you can go to a wedding, you can go to a meal with friends, you're maybe going to a barbecue, you're maybe going to a dinner party, you're maybe going to all these different events that are part of normal life. They're always going to happen. Going on holiday, going on vacation, a fucking Friday. All of these different sort of things will happen. You are going to be put in real life situations where you cannot control every single ingredient, every single morsel of food. And therefore, trying to have this pure obsession with clean eating is just really going to make you unable to function in the real world. And there's this then potential for yo-yo dieting, because there's only going to be so many times where you can avoid that social situation. There's only going to be so many times where you can bring fucking Tupperware to the wedding. There's only so many times you can do that. And it will lead to eventually you saying, fuck it. You'll go off track and then you'll ping back between, oh, I've got to go super, super clean. Then, oh shit, I can't deal with this social situation. So then you have a little bit of an eating episode, if you want to call it like that. And then you can kind of really, if you do this for long enough, you're pushing yourself towards some form of eating disorder. Now, again, I am not talking about people who eat highly nutritious diets and do not have any problems of this nature at all. I'm talking to the people that have taken clean eating to an extreme and it's causing them issues, whether that's anxieties, whether that's a depressive state, or whether that's mood is coming down. They feel like they are so anxious they can't function. That's who we're talking about. Now, clean eating is like one extreme of this thing where you're talking about only eating healthy foods. But you can also take an approach like if it fits your macros to an extreme as well. So it's not just one end of the spectrum that can cause problems. It's the other end of the spectrum that can also cause those problems. Because if it fits your macros is considered like this flexible dieting approach, but actually in some scenarios it can be very fucking rigid, because if you are sticking to specific calorie and macro recommendations right down to the gram, it may be overkill for what you need. Now, what I mean by that is most people do not need to follow specific macro splits. It's just not required unless you are doing some form of athletic sport where it is actually a prerequisite for good performance to do that. You just really don't need to put that pressure on yourself. Most of the clients that come and work with me, we really only look at calories and protein. I may give them some recommendations for a minimum amount of fat just to keep them healthy, but really the carb and fat ratio kind of takes care of itself based on their food choices. All I'm saying to them is focus on the calories, focus on the protein, get those two things right. And even for most people, it's just focus on the calories. Get those bits right, the rest will take care of itself. Trying to get your carbohydrate and your fat down to like the gram every single fucking day is just overkill. It's just too much restriction. It's too much for you to focus on. It's not necessary in most cases for what you need to achieve your goal. So there's this fear then of not tracking, this fear of, okay, what happens if I haven't got MyFitnessPal? What happens if I can't fucking track this meal that I'm having at a restaurant in MyFitnessPal? I'm scared of the lack of control in my diet if I don't log it in MyFitnessPal. Again, this is at the extreme end of the process. So you've got one end that's saying, well, I can't have anything that's not classed as clean. And on the other end, you're saying, I can have anything I want, but I need to track it down to the last gram or else fucking I'm out of control. And either end of the spectrum is just not a good place to be. Now, the answer therefore is what you might be thinking, okay, is, well, where is it then, Simon? What should I actually be doing? And the answer lies in the grey. The answer is in the grey, the boring shit right in the middle. Now, that's not a sexy diet I can sell you. That's not a sexy approach that I can badge with a nice glossy term. It's just the grey, mundane area in the middle. Extremes in either direction are just not good. So if you're too rigid, then you're going to get less success. You're going to get more food cravings. So think about things as like, foods are not good and bad. This is not an epic moral decision about whether you have a fucking chocolate bar once a week or not, or whether you have a chocolate bar fucking 2 or 3 times a week. This is not an epic judgment on your morals and your ability to lead a healthy lifestyle. You are a normal human being functioning in the daily environment with which we live in. And leave it at that. It's not this fucking huge thing that you've got to think about every single day. Encourage yourself to have those foods when you are at your most strongest. So when you are feeling like you've got good willpower, when you feel like you could control your diet, feel like you could control having a chocolate bar and not having 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 25 of them in one go, have a chocolate bar. Realize that, you can control it and the world did not end because you ate a fucking Kit Kat. Realize that, embrace that, and really kind of incorporate that into your plan. Think about your calories in ranges. You don't have to track everything to the specific fucking calorie every single day. You really have a little bit more of a broad range to work with. Don't forget that if you are in a calorie deficit of like 500 calories, you can still kind of eat a few more and you'll still be in a calorie deficit. So give yourself like this, maybe like 100, 150 calories either way that you can work within, because natural food choices are going to kind of move your calorie number all over the place. So don't feel like you're rigidly locked into this 1 calorie number or else everything is fucked. The other thing then is maybe to think about protein ranges. Don't think about fucking the perfect macro split. It doesn't fucking exist. It doesn't fucking matter. You are not a pro athlete. It just does not matter if your goal is you're just an average person like me who wants to lose a bit of body fat, wants to build a bit of muscle. That perfect macro split just doesn't exist and it's not fucking necessary. So think about your protein in ranges. You've got your calorie, that's a range. You've got your protein, that's a range. And then again, just try and hit that protein consistently day in, day out. If you're a little bit under, okay, not so much of a problem. Maybe think about reflecting on your food choices for that day and how could you potentially change things up, add a little bit more protein in next time. And if you go over your protein, fuck it, that doesn't matter. As long as you've kind of kept your calories in check, going over protein doesn't fucking matter. Your kidneys are not going to explode. Also, think about your calories across a week. Again, like give yourself this huge amount of flexibility. You have got more flexibility with your diet than you actually probably realize. Your body doesn't really work in these 24-hour scenarios when it comes to calories. You could have 1,000 calories one day, 3,000 calories the next, and you still might come out your 2,000 calorie average. It just kind of just makes sure that across the week, you're hitting that average. So if you want to go out at the weekend, you're a bit of a weekend warrior, you're very good Monday to Thursday, but it's Friday and Saturday where all bets are off, shit hits the fan, calories go through the roof. Cool. If you are that type of person and you understand that's what your actual behavior is like, kind of embrace it. Say to yourself, well, I'm going to have few calories less Monday through Thursday and on Sunday. Friday and Saturday, I'm going to boost my calorie intake up so I can enjoy the lifestyle that I have. And if you haven't got that lifestyle and you're completely different and you have more of a kind of static kind of calorie requirement each and every day, make sure you reflect that in how you approach your calories. Do what's right for you. So as a little bit of a recap, you do not need to obsess about foods being clean in order to lose weight, in order to be healthy. In fact, if you take it to an extreme, it can work against you. It can lead to over restriction. It can lead to an unhealthy relationship with food. It can actually potentially lead to less weight reduction, and it can lead to less adherence over time, which means you are further away from your goal. So think about being more flexible on yourself, with your food choices, flexible with your calorie requirements. Think about ranges of calories, think about ranges of protein, and think about your calories across a week. And also remember, don't go too far the other way either. If you're an obsessive tracker, again, you are not really living in the real world. Encourage yourself to be able to break free from tracking when the time is right. When you feel like the timing is right for you to not have to track all the fucking time, down to the very last gram of everything, then encourage yourself to live in the real world. Live in those real world scenarios, because that's what helps you make things sustainable. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of the show. If you did, come and let me know on Instagram at iron_paradise_fitness. Drop me a message, drop me a DM. Tell me what you thought. I'm always happy to hear your suggestions for podcasts as well. If you've got a question that's rattling around in your brain that I haven't answered in the last 180 something episodes, come and let me know and I will turn it into a podcast for you. And if you want more information on fat loss, building muscle, mindset, and all that sort of stuff, head over to ironparadisefitness.com. And also you can check out my online coaching program where you can find out how I can help you accelerate from where you are right now to the body of your dreams in the shortest possible time frame. Wouldn't that be fucking cool? Yes, of course it would. But I'll leave you to have a look at all of that. In the meantime, all I'm going to say is thanks so much for listening. Keep living the lean life, and I'll see you for the next episode of the show.